Hi, and welcome to the Holistic Health Guide podcast. I'm your host, Kathryn Berg, a certified classical homeopath with over 20 years of experience. In today's episode, we're going to talk about three surprising symptoms that can be helped with homeopathy. They are things you just wouldn't think could be helped, but they can. And if you hang around until the end of the podcast, you will learn about another surprising dis-ease that can be reversed using homeopathy. And bonus, even if you would never develop this work-related disease, you could still need a remedy mentioned due to recreational activities. Let's get started.
Have you ever wondered how your favorite holistic health practices really work? Are you curious to learn more? Welcome to Holistic Health Guide. I'm Kathryn Berg, a classical homeopath with over 20 years of experience. Join us as we explore homeopathy, stem cell activation patches, the Enneagram, and much more. Let's dive in and uncover the secrets and tips behind your favorite holistic health modalities.
A while back, I was scratching a mosquito bite on my leg that had been hanging around for well over a week. And I looked down and there was blood running down my ankle from the bite. And I was surprised to see that a bite this old would bleed. And then it occurred to me that mosquito bites must be difficult for people with hemophilia. Hemophilia is among several unexpected disease pictures whose symptoms can be helped with homeopathy. If someone had asked me whether hemophilia could be helped with homeopathy, I might have hesitated and said, I'm just not sure. But in 2015, a study was conducted in India which showed that acute bleeding episodes in severe hemophilia can be managed with homeopathy. When I first heard of this study, I was both surprised but not surprised at the same time. In case you aren't familiar with hemophilia, it is a genetic bleeding disorder resulting from deficiency of clotting factor 8, which is hemophilia A, or factor 9, which is hemophilia B. These could be from cuts, a bloody nose, childhood tooth loss, bleeding on the joints, etc. The conclusion of this study was that homeopathic medicine prescribed by homeopaths experienced in managing hemophilia patients can significantly reduce bleeding and improve symptoms in a large majority of severely affected hemophilia patients, along with non-factor supportive therapy, and can be an alternative way of treating these patients where factor concentrates are not optimally available. This is a genetic disorder that is life-threatening. Imagine being in a country like India where medical help can be far away and the clotting factors are not always available. Homeopathy would be a lifesaver. If you would like to read this study, look for a link in the show notes. Here are some of the findings from the study. 494 severely affected people with hemophilia presented with 636 episodes of bleeding. 578 bleeding episodes, or 91%, were successfully managed with homeopathic medicines only. In 21 episodes, or 3.1%, homeopathic medicines failed but responded to additional factor concentrates. And 37 patients who received factor concentrates without any apparent benefit in the given time set up by the study responded to the homeopathic medicines. As an experienced homeopath, I can guess that some of the remedies that would be effective would include snake remedies such as lachesis, bothrops, Crotalus cascavella, sardis. Reason I suspected the snake remedies would help is because they do have a lot of blood symptoms. In fact, I recommended bothrops lanceolatus for people who were trying to prevent getting blood clots from the COVID vaccination. But in addition to these snake remedies, there are also mineral remedies such as phosphorus, ferrum phosphoricum, phosphoric acid, and calc phos. You see the common thread there. Some of the well-known plant remedies that help include crocus sativus, which is saffron, and lycopersicum, which is tomato. There are over 126 remedies in the homeopathic repertory for the symptom of difficult or absent coagulation. So you can see why the conclusion stated that homeopathic practitioners with experience with this pathology would be able to help. If you would like to read the study, look for the link in the show notes. The next disease grouping that might surprise you can be helped with homeopathy is a prolapse. A prolapse refers to a descending or dropping of an internal organ. Generally, it occurs when muscles or ligaments weaken and can no longer support the organ. The organ often then starts to protrude out of the nearest opening. Uterine and bladder prolapses are somewhat common amongst women who have experienced childbirth. And of course, as we age, connective tissue tends to give away more easily as well. And lifting something too heavy is a common preceding activity to a prolapse. A rectal prolapse can also occur, and we have remedies for all three of those. And it isn't just organs that can prolapse, hemorrhoids can prolapse as well. All sorts of things can start falling out of the body, but this doesn't happen to everyone. Like any health condition that occurs, it is all about susceptibility. This means that two women of the same age and size can lift the same object. One might get a prolapse of the bladder and the other might not. And of course, not every new mother has a problem either. The usual course of action for a Western medicine doctor fix is surgery. The usual course of action for a homeopath is to find a well-matched remedy, have the client take it as directed, and watch the prolapse heal over the course of a few months. I have helped a couple dozen women over the years with this particular problem. You might be surprised that something this mechanical can be fixed by a remedy. But just remember that not everyone develops a prolapse when all other conditions are equal, just those who are susceptible. For those of you who complain that Kegel exercises do nothing, you are correct. Because for those who do not benefit from that exercise, it is because it does nothing to change the susceptibility to prolapse. And homeopathy does. Our next set of symptoms is those related to tooth decay. It seems hard to believe that tooth decay can be reversed by homeopathy, but it can. Let me explain. First, if the cavity has gone through the enamel, it is unlikely that anything will be able to fix it, but it is worth a try as the remedy will likely stop the progress of the decay. But many kids have a tendency towards cavities, and parents would like to stop that for a variety of reasons, really. Cost being one of them, and just generally, lots of cavities are a sign of dis-ease in the body. If your child is not good at taking care of his or her teeth, this is not what I'm referring to in this section. This is referring to those where the dentist is concerned about the future cavities, or your child has 6 cavities in a visit and you know that they take good care of their teeth. The best way to start trying to reverse that tendency towards tooth decay is to take the homeopathic cell salt combo of Calc-Phos 6X and Calc-Fluor 6X. Take it once a day for a few days. If you can tolerate it, go to twice a day. You will know if they can tolerate it because they will get whiny and emotional from those remedies if you give them too much of it. This tendency to getting cavities can be quickly reduced by using these cell salts. If you or your child do not have any foreign objects implanted in the body, such as screws due to a broken bone, for example, you could also add Silica 6X to the cell salt combination, but it works fine without it as well. And speaking of bones, another surprising thing that can be healed with homeopathy is ossification problems in children. Ossification is bone tissue formation, and problems usually result in thin bones. These same remedies show up in the repertory as well as other ones. So this problem would not be a DIY project if your child has this problem. Such a problem would also require a constitutional remedy. Some of these remedies, along with others not mentioned, can also be helpful for osteoporosis as well as bone spurs. So there's all kinds of bone and tooth things that can be helped by similar remedies because they are minerals that naturally appear in those parts of the body. It is important to note that there are other ways that are more customized to prevent tooth decay for very specific sorts of tooth symptoms, and these would require a full intake. So there you have it, 3 unexpected dis-ease symptoms that can be helped with homeopathy. Now, if you hang around for a few more minutes, you will learn of yet another unusual symptom picture that can be helped by homeopathy, along with a remedy that could help a similar situation caused by recreational activities. As I was putting this together, I was looking for the most unlikely dis-ease that could be helped with homeopathy. But you might be wondering about some more common dis-ease that you or a friend or a loved one is dealing with. If there is something you are wondering about, please send an email to holistichealthguide@proton.me. That's holistic health guide, one word, at proton.me. I'll either get back to you or suggest we have a chat depending on your questions. Again, send those questions to holistichealthguide@proton.me and let me know what you're wondering about. As promised, one more unusual set of symptoms that homeopathy has a history of helping with, and that is silicosis. First, let's talk about what silicosis is. By the way, thanks to the Cleveland Clinic for the excellent information on silicosis. Silicosis is one of a group of diseases called pneumoconiosis, sometimes referred to with the coined phrase pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. That's a long word, 45 letters. It is a work-related lung disease that develops due to breathing in silica dust on the job. Silicosis is mostly related to the job that you do. If you work in the following industries, you are more likely to develop silicosis than other people. They include mining and quarrying, construction, building and demolition, stonework, including stone countertop manufacturing, which is really popular now, pottery, ceramics and glass making, sandblasting, and foundry work. So how does this condition affect your body? Silica interacts with the respiratory tract in a harmful way. It seems to damage the respiratory system's core line of defense. It can cause scarring of the lung tissue as well as unintended weight loss. The Western medicine treatment includes quit smoking or using tobacco products, assuming you do, use personal protective equipment or change your job, use a bronchodilator to improve airflow, get flu and pneumonia vaccines to help protect your airways, and use supplemental oxygen if necessary. In some cases, your provider may even recommend lung transplant surgery. Yikes! I'd try homeopathy first. The homeopathic repertory presents 16 remedies that are known to help this condition. As you can imagine, silica is one of them. In fact, it is a 4 on a scale of 1 to 4. Interestingly, I checked out all the sources for all these listings in the repertory, and the most recent was from 1979, while the oldest was in the 1800s. Due to the medical research and labor union requirements, there is likely far less incidence of this disease. People now wear personal protective equipment on the job under such conditions, more than likely. However, I had a client call me one day to find out what to do when her spouse rode a dirt bike without a mask on his face or anything like that, and was coughing like crazy from breathing in the dust. I believe I recommended silica along with a story that cowboys used to wear bandanas over their faces for a reason. Masks might not help protect you from viruses, but they definitely help protect you from dust and dirt and sand flying up and getting inhaled into your lungs. As usual, prevention is the best treatment. But if a similar thing happens to your family with exposure to dust, consider taking silica to help with the subsequent coughing. Thank you for listening to the Holistic Health Guide podcast and our episode on unexpected symptoms that can be helped by homeopathy. As I mentioned earlier, if you have anything you are wondering about in regard to whether homeopathy can help, send me an email at holistichealthguide@proton.me. That's holistichealthguide@proton.me. I'll reply as soon as I can. That's all for this time. And until our next episode, be healthy and happy.